O eternal and almighty God, from whom all power and wisdom come, we are assembled here before thee to frame such laws as may tend to the welfare and prosperity of our province. Grant, O merciful God, we pray thee, that we may desire only that which is in accordance with thy will, that we may seek it with wisdom and know it with certainty and accomplish it perfectly, for the glory and honor of thy name and for the welfare of all our people. Amen. We acknowledge we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory, and that Manitoba is located on the treaty territories and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabeg, Dakota Oete, Dene Sulene, and Neothog nations. We acknowledge Manitoba is located on the homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge northern Manitoba includes lands that were and are the ancestral lands of the Inuit. We respect the spirit and intent of treaties and treaty making and remain committed to working in partnership with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. Please be seated. Before we begin routine proceedings, I have a tabling. So, tabling two letters from Deanna Wilson, Executive Director of the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The first letter advises that on October 20, 2025, the Assembly received full payment from Heather Stephenson, the former MLA for Tuxedo, for the fined amount of $18,000. The order, please. The second letter advises that on October 27, 2025, the Assembly received full payment from the MLA for Red River North of the fined amount of $10,000. Accordingly, Ms. Stephenson and the member for Red River North have fulfilled their obligations under the Conflict of Interest Members and Ministers Act related to the Ethics Commissioner report dated May 21, 2025. Introduction of bills. Routine proceedings, introduction of bills. Committee reports. The Honourable Member for Tuxedo.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the 7th report of the Standing Committee on Social and Economic Development.
Your Standing Committee on Social and Economic Development.
Dispense. The Honourable Member for Tuxedo.
Honourable Speaker, I move, seconded by the Honourable Member for McPhillips, that the report of the committee be received.
Been moved by the Honourable Member for Tuxedo, seconded by the Honourable Member for McPhillips, that the report of the committee be received. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Agreed and so ordered. Tabling of report. The motion is accordingly passed. The Honourable Minister of Labour and Immigration.
Honourable Speaker, I'm pleased to table the 2023-24 Manitoba Labour Board Annual Report for Manitoba Labour and Immigration.
And in accordance with Section 32, Bracket 1 of the Elections Act and subsection 107, Bracket 1 of the Elections Financing Act, I'm tabling the annual report for Elections Manitoba for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. No further tabling of reports. Ministerial statements. The Honourable Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I am pleased to rise in the House today to proclaim Manitoba Motor Carrier Enforcement Centennial Day, marking 100 years of dedicated service to our province. Founded in 1925 with just a handful of inspectors, the agency has grown to over 50 officers that form a cornerstone of Manitoba's highway safety program. For 100 years, they have been there when Manitoba needed them most. And recently, they have helped with security near the US border and partnered with the RCMP to keep Manitobans safer during this year's wildfires. Their dedication and reliability have made MMCE a trusted partner in keeping our roads and communities safe. Manitoba Motor Carrier Enforcement has continually served as a visible presence on our provincial highways and an ongoing reminder to the trucking industry of the importance of safe operations. Its core responsibilities include regulating Manitoba's motor carriers and conducting roadside enforcement of highway safety laws. Over the last 4 years alone, they have increased the number of roadside inspections by 120%. Motor carrier enforcement officers work closely with the Canadian Border Services Agency, the RCMP, and other police forces on a daily basis to prevent collisions, ensure safe operating standards, and reduce risks to provincial assets. These responsibilities form the basis of the agency's mandate. Working with government and industry stakeholders alike, the agency's approach has been to educate and collaborate, to drive awareness of motor carrier matters that can promote economic growth and development for the next century. As we look to the future, the agency's collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, industry, and government partners will remain vital in fostering safety, sustainability, and economic development across Manitoba's transportation sector. We value the work the agency does, and we know that they will continue to be a strong representative for provincial road safety for all Manitobans. Let us all recognize and celebrate this remarkable milestone. Please join me in congratulating Manitoba Motor Carrier Enforcement on a century of service and in supporting their continued efforts to keep our roads safe for generations to come. Thank you.
The honourable member for Turtle Mountain.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I'd like to bring attention to the remarkable milestone, 100 years of dedicated service by the officers of the Manitoba Motor Carrier Enforcement. Over the course of the past century, this organization has stood as a guardian for our province's roads, infrastructure, and public safety. From the earliest days, their mission was been to promote safe and sustainable road and coach operations on Manitoba highways and roads, protecting Manitoba's infrastructure through enforcement, education, and industry engagement. Their work has protected lives to ensure the safe passage of people and goods all across our Manitoba roads. As the lead agency in Manitoba is responsible for conducting roadside operations, our Manitoba Motor Carrier officers know safety when it sees it. Manitoba Motor Carrier Enforcement and its officers protect all users of Manitoba's vast 19,000 kilometers of provincial truck highway and provincial roads by ensuring the safety of large trucks, motor coaches, school buses, and their drivers through roadside inspections, enforcement, and education. Over 100 years now, Manitoba organization has worked to build trust with the Manitoba commuters and organizations across Manitoba. They have demonstrated pride and commitment to serving the diverse industry through professionalism. Like our Manitoba seasons, the transportation industry is ever changing. That is why one of the tenets of the MMCE is adaptability. Whether it's changing roads or legislation, the MMCE adapts and involves advancing their education and training to work effectively. No matter the season, the MMCE are consistent with their diligence approach to road safety and meeting challenges ahead. I had the opportunity to see many of these new officers graduate when I was minister, so it's great to see that the years that have been conducted, this service has been great for Manitoba. I would like to take this time to thank MMCE for their meaningful work in keeping our roads safe. Here's to another 100 years.
No further ministerial statements, member statements. The Honourable Minister of Advanced Education and Training.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Today I rise to celebrate a truly historic moment for Windsor Park Collegiate, the launch of their very first football team, the Royals. This wasn't just the start of a season, it was the start of a dream. What usually takes a full year to plan came together in just 2 short months, thanks to the incredible support of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Wade Miller. Their commitment helped turn a bold idea into a living, breathing dream. Over the summer, it was all hands on deck, hiring coaches, gathering equipment, building a playbook, and recruiting players. In June, the Royals were officially welcomed into the Winnipeg High School Football League, and by August, they were out on the field for their first camp. Many of these students had never played organized football before, but that didn't stop them. Their drive, their energy, and their heart were unstoppable. And under the leadership of head coach Brett Delisle-Bowen and principal Robbie Major, this program has built more than just a team, it's become a community. Their first ever game on September 9th against the Grant Park Pirates at Maginot Field was unforgettable. Over 300 fans packed the stands, cheering with pride and excitement. Since then, the Royals have grown in skill, confidence, and spirit, and around Windsor Park, there's a bit of a buzz, a wave of purple pride that's impossible to miss. The Royals have shown us what's possible when a community comes together with heart, with hard work, and passion. I want to say a hearty congratulations to the Royals, many of whom are here today. You've made history. You've inspired your schools, and you've shown all of us what it means to wear purple with pride. We can't wait to see what you'll accomplish next. I ask all of my colleagues to rise and give them a great big welcome to the Winnipeg High School Football League.
The Honourable Member for Dawson Trail. Oh, just 1 minute. The Honourable Minister for Advanced Education and Training.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I provided the names of all of the team members earlier, and I request leave to have them enhanced, please.
The Honourable Member for Dawson Trail.
It's an honor for me to recognize today the exceptional contribution of Gilles Crevier as an artist, musician, and resident of St. Anne. Gilles is a French-Canadian Red River Métis with nearly 4 decades of experience as a career musician. In his early career, he was a member of the musical director for the Ensemble Folklorique de la Rivière Rouge, performing in Canada, the United States, and Europe. He was also a founding member for the Francophone folk group La Bardesse, and is a former member of the Winnipeg Pops Orchestra, which he served nearly 15 years as concert master. Today, his focus is mainly on playing Métis feudal music, leading to his recent representation and performances, along with his daughter Sarah, as an Indigenous member of the official Government of Canada delegation for the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Netherlands to end the Second World War. Gilles a fièrement représenté le Canada et la culture métisse à cet événement. Gilles also made a recent guest appearance on the Red River Gold series, currently airing on APTN, offering his talent to highlight the Indigenous culture and history that is rooted in the story of the lost gold along the historic Dawson Trail. Gilles currently works at Veterans Affairs Canada and serves his community as volunteer at the local Communauté culturelle de St. Anne and the Knights of Columbus chapter. Gilles' greatest success, however, is being a devoted husband and father of 6 children. He and his family have shown exceptional strength and resilience in recent years following the diagnosis of a rare neurological disease that left his wife, Bridget, wheelchair-bound. On behalf of the Dawson Trail Riding, I congratulate Gilles and his contributions to the culture and vitality of our community. We are happy to see Gilles and his family continue to thrive.
The Honourable Member for Fort Richmond.
Honourable Speaker, I rise today to recognize the German-Canadian Congress, or GCC. This is especially meaningful to me personally, as my husband's family is originally from Germany, and he recently returned from Berlin, where a family member was awarded the Order of Merit of Berlin, the highest honor given by the state of Berlin. Since its founding in 1985, the GCC has been a cornerstone of Manitoba's multicultural landscape. I've had the pleasure of attending their monthly breakfasts, enjoying not only the delicious food, but also the warmth and friendship of the community. Through these gatherings, seasonal events, film screenings, and a scholarship program celebrating excellence in German studies, the GCC preserves German language, heritage, and community. Their signature event, Christkindlmarkt, is Canada's longest-running German Christmas market. I attended last year and was charmed by the aromas of seasonal foods, handcrafted decorations, and joyful music. This November, both the Congress and its beloved Christkindlmarkt celebrate their 40th anniversary, marking 4 decades of dedication and community building. What makes the GCC truly remarkable is its people. Aside from one part-time staff member, the Congress is run entirely by volunteers, including a dedicated 12-member board. I had the opportunity to attend one of their board meetings, visit their office, tour their library, and see firsthand the passion and commitment behind every initiative. After 40 years, the German-Canadian Congress continues to promote understanding between Canada and the German-speaking world, support newcomers, and strengthen the bonds that unite Manitobans through language, culture, and friendship. I invite all members to join me in celebrating 40th anniversary of the German-Canadian Congress.
Whose time has expired. Is there leave for the member to finish her statement? Leave has been granted. The honourable member for Fort Richmond.
I invite all members to join me in celebrating 40th anniversary of the German-Canadian Congress and visiting their Christkindlmarkt November 28th to 30th, 2025. And I would like to add my guest names, Lydia Schopner and Irene Kemschen, to the Hansard. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The honourable member for Morden Winkler.
Honorable Speaker, it is my true honor to rise today to celebrate the remarkable career and retirement of Morden Fire Chief Andy Thiessen. With an extraordinary 45 years of service with the Morden Fire and Rescue Department, 30 of those years as Fire Chief, Chief Thiessen's career has been defined by courage, commitment, and compassion. Over the past 45 years, Chief Thiessen has not only responded to countless emergencies, but has led his team of volunteer firefighters through some of the most difficult and defining moments any department can face. He showed up for his team with leadership, strength, and humility. Chief Thiessen has been the steady presence, a mentor for young firefighters, and truly a pillar of his community. His leadership has gone far beyond the walls of the fire hall. He's been a familiar and friendly face to generations of Morden residents. From reading to children in classrooms, greeting families at the fire hall, or patching up stuffed animals at the teddy bear picnic, Chief Thiessen has become something of a local legend. Under his leadership, the Morden Fire and Rescue Department has not only grown, but become a family, one bound by purpose, pride, and compassion. Morden has been incredibly blessed to have a fire chief like Andy, so deeply rooted in the community, someone who is not led with just skill and experience, but with genuine care for every person that he served. I also want to thank Chief Thiessen's family and all the volunteer firefighters and first responders who join me in honoring Chief Thiessen. Your dedication, bravery, and service to your fire chief and to our community does not go unnoticed. We are truly grateful. On behalf of our community of Morden Winkler, I want to thank you, Chief Thiessen, for your decades of sacrifice, leadership, and your devotion to the people of Morden and the surrounding area. We wish
Honourable member's time has expired. Is there leave for the honourable member to finish her statement? Agreed and so ordered. The honourable member for Morden Winkler.
Thank you, Speaker. We wish you every happiness in this new chapter, more time with family, time for rest, and the peace that comes with an exceptionally job well done. Congratulations, Chief Andy Thiessen. Please rise with me in honoring Chief Thiessen.
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources and Indigenous Futures.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. September 4, 2025 was a tragic day for my home community of Hollowwater First Nation, as we dealt with a mass casualty incident and the unfortunate loss of life of one of our young women. We also seen heroic efforts and a community coming together in the face of this extreme adversity. Today, I want to acknowledge and uplift two of those heroes who join us today. Richard Kennedy and Brian Laporte. Richard and Brian are First Nation safety officers. They are our front line of safety in Hollowwater. As the morning of September 4th played out in real time for Hollowwater, Richard and Brian were instrumental in the response and coordination of not only the safety of the community, but as a medical first response as well. Being a first responder in a small community carries with it not only great responsibilities, but it also carries a heavy load. As more often than not, the people that you interact with are community residents that you know on a personal level, sometimes for your or their entire lives, and this cannot be easy. Richard and Brian also raised their families in Hollowwater, so the events of September 4th hit home even closer, as some of the victims of that day are the same age of their own children. As first responders, Richard and Brian signed up to do this work because they want to make a difference, and that difference means all that much more in a small community. That positive impact that they are making not only impacts our community, but impacts their own personal families as well. Honourable Speaker, sometimes lived experience may carry with it a heavy burden, but it also gives you strength. Both Richard and Brian have had tragedy in their personal lives, and they both have chosen for those events to make them stronger, to make their family stronger, to make our community stronger. Honourable Speaker, I ask my colleagues to rise and show their appreciation for the work of Richard Kennedy and Brian Laporte, who exemplify what heroism should be. Honourable Speaker, I also ask that my guests be added to answer. Miigwech.
Prior to oral questions, there are some guests in the gallery that I would like to introduce. I'd like to draw the attention of all honourable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today Gilles Crevier, Brigitte Crevier, Patrick Crevier, Zachary Crevier, Alexandra Crevier, Sarah Crevier, Cedric Crevier, Alice Crevier, Paul-Emile Crevier, Betty McKenzie, who are guests of the Honourable Member for Dawson Trail. And on behalf of all honourable members, we welcome you here today. Further, I'd like to draw the attention of all honourable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today Mayor Nancy Penner, Morden Fire Chief Andy Thiessen, Tammy Thiessen, Nicole Riedel, CJ Thiessen, Lindsay Thiessen, Ren Thiessen, Hunter Thiessen, Mark Thiessen, Julie Thiessen, Tori Thiessen, and Dee Gunther, who are guests of the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler. And on behalf of all honourable members, we welcome you here today. The Honourable Member for Borderland.
On House business, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Borderland on House business.
Pursuant to Section 44.3 of the Conflict of Interest Act, I rise today to table copies of a complaint I have made to the Ethics Commissioner. The letter outlines concerns about the Minister of Public Service Delivery awarding a contract to a business in which he has a financial interest, according to his declarations with the Ethics Commissioner. These documents also detail the complaint.
Oral questions. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Manitobans are tired of political theater by this Premier, lack of accountability by this Premier, lack of answers to valid questions by this Premier. They're tired of his flip-flopping, and they're tired of him putting his giant ego and fake smiles ahead of Manitobans. When will this Premier actually get serious? The Premier would rather film a commercial acting as Ford's puppet on his lap instead of doing the hard and serious work for Manitobans. This trade conflict with the United States is a serious issue in which 63,000 Manitobans could be affected and $18 billion of trade. When will the Premier put his ego aside and get serious about the dire situation Manitobans are in? Or does this Premier think everything's a joke?
Yeah. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, I don't know about you, but I'm scratching my head over here wondering what the issue is that the member opposite has with the Premier's smile. It's fantastic. Weird. He has a great smile. I don't understand why he's hyper-focused on the Premier's great smile. On this side of the House, we are focused on delivering results for Manitobans. That's right. Right? That's where our focus is. And being led by a Premier who works with leaders across the country from coast to coast to coast to take a Team Canada approach. In contrast, Honourable Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition thanked Donald Trump for tariffs. What is he even talking about? I wonder which side of the issue he's actually on. Is he going to keep thanking Donald Trump for tariffs, or is he finally going to get on the side of Team Canada?
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a supplementary question.
Once again, I ask a serious question affecting 63,000 Manitobans, and now the Deputy Premier stands up and makes a joke about how they love the Premier's smile. Last week, the Premier commented on how good-looking his best friend in Washington, D.C. is, and that's why he got a $400,000 job to be the trade negotiator, and 0 deals have come in under this Premier's best friend. Zero accountability, 0 answers by this NDP government. Premier Mo went to Indonesia and signed a $900 million deal. Wow. Premier Smith has Alberta ranked #1 when it comes to economic growth, and this NDP government has Manitoba ranked dead last. But what is the Premier doing? Absolutely nothing. He's filming commercials, making fun of our largest trade partner, where 63,000 Manitobans rely on jobs. So the question again, what is the Premier doing to ensure Manitobans will continue to have those jobs and $18 billion of money?
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, thanks to the leadership of our Premier and our incredible Minister for Jobs Creation in Manitoba, Manitoba is leading the way, creating over 5,300 jobs in this province. We are leading the way. Our government is taking very seriously the threat of tariffs from the United States. We're working with premiers and leaders from across this country, while on that side of the House, they're thanking Donald Trump. In fact, the member for Spruce Woods actually said, when people on social media were telling us fodder about should Canada be sold to the United States, do you know what the member for Spruce Woods had to say? Sold. As in, yeah, go ahead, sell Canada to the United States. Honourable Speaker, what is happening on that side of the House?
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
Maybe the third time's a charm here for this Deputy Premier. I'm asking about the $63,000 jobs affected by this Premier's irresponsible, childish comments where he sat on Doug Ford's lap as his puppet and endorsed those commercials that now have Manitoba in jeopardy of losing $18 billion. Wow. Even the president of the Chamber of Commerce says, quote, "This is probably not going to help that relationship," end quote. Why will the Premier simply not stand up and answer a serious question about Manitobans and their jobs and the future and economic prosperity of this province, instead of taking personal attacks on this side of the House?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, part of the way that you push back against someone like Donald Trump is you have a united Team Canada approach, a united front against Donald Trump's terrorists. Manitoba is leading the way in creating jobs in this province. We're also protecting jobs in this province. We're focused on building a strong economy for all Manitobans. But on that side of the House, when a mega senator offered to buy Canada, the member for Spruce Woods responded with one word: sold. The member for Fort White thanked Donald Trump for tariffs. There are multiple members on that side of the House that talk about Canada becoming the United States. They are not on Team Canada. They need to get on our side. On this side, I'm not in government. That won't happen for many, many decades to come. But Team Canada.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a new question.
Let's get the facts straight. Under this NDP government, 1,300 jobs were net lost last month, and Manitoba has the worst GDP in this country at 1.1%, all due to this failure of an NDP government. Since the Premier won't stand up and answer any of my questions, I'm going to ask you, Manitobans, do you think 11% is a success rate? A win? A success? A passing grade? I think the answer resoundingly is no. But according to this failed justice minister, he went out and commented embarrassedly and said, quote, "The province is seeing success in the program," end quote. 11% is not a success rate when it comes to repeat violent offenders on bail. Wow. This failed Minister of Justice says 11% is acceptable. It is embarrassing, and this failed Minister of Justice should resign. Now, will the Premier actually stand up and answer a question? What is he doing to keep Manitobans safe, or is an 11% an acceptable pass rate for him?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, on this side of the House, we take the safety and security of Manitobans with the highest level of seriousness. Our Minister of Justice has been working extremely hard from day one to undo the harms of the previous PC government, who fired dozens of police officers from our streets. They actively cut services like the ankle monitoring program that kept people safer in our neighborhoods. We're doing the work to restore those devastating cuts, to work with law enforcement, and we're seeing results. We know there's more work to do, but 7.5 years of cuts and chaos has done a tremendous amount of damage that we're working to fix for Manitobans.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a supplementary question.
You can see there's a pattern here. We ask questions, they don't answer anything. They still won't answer. The failed Minister of Justice won't stand up and say why he thinks 11% is a success rate. Maybe because of all the failed teachers on that side of the House, they do think 11% is a success rate. Professor said, Winworth, quote, "If they want to include people still wearing the devices in the failure, that's a great way to inflate success."
Order. The government bench needs to come to order. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Let's look at the real numbers. 166 still wearing the ankle monitor program are removed. It's a failure of 89%. Wow. That means 11% success rate. Those are the facts. That's the reality under this failed NDP government. Question is simple to the Premier. Why is he keeping his failed Minister of Justice in his portfolio when he thinks 11% is the success rate and a pass?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
First, we're very proud to have teachers who served our students to serve now on this side of the House in government, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is standing up and asking questions about a program he cut. The previous PC government cut the ankle monitoring program. That member was around the cabinet table making those decisions. To keep our communities less safe on this side of the House, our Minister of Justice has invested $2.9 million to have over 100 ankle monitors in place, and this year we increase that investment by another $1.2 million, adding another 100 ankle monitors. The program is working. We are catching people who are reoffending.
Time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
If this NDP failed Minister of Justice thinks this is a success rate, why is he hiding information? I'm going to table a Freedom of Information request from January 11th that clearly shows that this minister is hiding information. The response from the Minister of Justice Department when asked for questions was, quote, "This data is not formally tracked by the department." But magically, here it is in a CBC report article showing exactly what the FIPA asked for in July. This Minister of Justice is hiding information from Manitobans. He is misleading Manitobans. Here, why is the Premier, why is the Minister of Justice bearing evidence that clearly shows...
Order, please. I would remind members that they're not supposed to be waving things around, using them as exhibits. If the member wishes to table it, he should table it. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I will table the report that clearly shows what this Minister of Justice was hiding in his Freedom of Information request. So the question is simple. Why is the Premier and the Minister of Justice bearing evidence that clearly shows the failures of this Minister of Justice?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is waving that paper around because he's doing everything he can to distract Manitobans from the fact that they cut the same program. He tries to stand up today and criticize our Minister of Justice for doing too much good work reinstating. Honourable Speaker, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. The Leader of the Opposition cut the ankle monitoring program, fired police officers, and didn't support Crown attorneys. We're adding ankle monitors, we're adding police, and we're hiring Crown attorneys. They have no credibility, not a leg to stand on that side of the House.
The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler.
Honourable Speaker, manufacturers and business owners in my constituency are being hit hard by U.S. tariffs. These are employers who provide good jobs and support to our local economies. They're not asking for help or handouts. They're asking for help, just a fair chance to stay competitive. Why is this government failed to provide real supports to help these industries weather this economic storm?
Good question. The Honourable Minister, Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Well, Honourable Speaker, I'm happy to stand up and speak directly to manufacturers in the province who are facing the severe threats from tariffs brought on by Donald Trump and the U.S. government. Now, we know that member opposite thanked Donald Trump. We know they also came in this House today to defend Donald Trump. The question that Manitobans are wondering, the question that manufacturers are wondering, is when will the PC opposition, the failed former PC government, actually get on board with the Team Canada approach, the Team Manitoba approach? Our approach has actually been to work directly with manufacturers, support their initiatives, grow exports, and that's why we're doing just that. I've had the pleasure of visiting many manufacturers, particularly in the Pembina Valley, to support their efforts to grow and expand.
The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, we're here to defend Manitobans. Families, livelihoods depend on these manufacturing jobs. While other provinces have found ways to support their industries through these trade challenges, Manitoba's NDP government continues to offer only words, no action. We need action. Why hasn't this minister brought forward any concrete plan to protect Manitoban jobs and businesses from the impact of tariffs?
The Honourable Minister, Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Well, Honourable Speaker, it's right that manufacturing is important here, and it's right that they face the threat of tariffs, the same tariffs that member opposite thanked Donald Trump for imposing on Canadian and Manitoban manufacturers. That's why it's so concerning, and that's why we bring it up. But in terms of action, absolutely, we have delivered for manufacturers here. Our new economic development strategy lays out the fact that we're taking PST off of manufacturing equipment to support manufacturers. It also lays out the fact that we are doubling export support program to make sure that more manufacturers have the opportunity to reach global markets, helping diversify away from exports to the United States. That's real action. That's supporting manufacturing.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, I represent the constituency of Morden Winkler, the economic hub of the province. We contribute tax dollars to government initiatives and to social programs across the province. When will the government start supporting our manufacturing industry in southern Manitoba, the city of Winnipeg, and the rest of the province of Manitoba? Our province needs leadership. When will this government provide real solutions to help our manufacturers weather this difficult economic time?
The Honourable Minister, Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
We know Manitoba businesses and manufacturers want real action. That's why we're taking the PSD off of manufacturing equipment. That's why we're doubling our exports program. That's why we're launching a new loan program to assist exporters right here in Manitoba, reach global markets and diversify. That's real action. What do we see from members opposite? Well, we see them kowtowing to Donald Trump. We see them defending him and thanking him. That's their approach, not ours. On our side of the House, we deliver for Manitobans with 5,300 new jobs and more added in manufacturing. That's real action and real results.
The Honourable Member for Roblin.
Manitobans are learning the hard way that they can't trust this failing NDP government. I'm going to table a Manitoba Nurses Union post from last week, which says, quote, "Recently we asked for a breakdown of the so-called net new nurses the government continues to cite. Despite these being straightforward questions, and despite the Premier and Health Minister frequently referencing these numbers in public, we were met with a staggering fee of nearly $2,000, justified by an estimated 48 hours of staff time to produce the data," unquote. So that means one of two things. Either the Minister of Health has this information and is refusing to provide it with a bogus fee estimate, or they don't have it and they're just making the numbers up. Which is it?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Anytime I have the opportunity to stand up and thank the about 1,200 net new nurses for joining the front lines of our healthcare system, I am very happy to do so. Honourable Speaker. You know, our government worked really, really hard to establish a way, a methodology, if you will, of making sure that we can report on net new numbers. It's something that the member opposite could have advised the former health minister and former premier Heather Stephenson to do when she was advising her on healthcare. But instead, she took her time, used her time rather, to advise Heather Stephenson to cut healthcare, to close emergency rooms and to fire nurses. I'll take no lessons from her.
The Honourable Member for Roblin on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, this Minister of Health and this Premier and every member of that government routinely go out and spout these numbers and these talking points as though they are facts. But when they are asked to provide the proof, they say, "We need 6 full business days to retrieve that data." How is that possible? If the Minister of Health isn't just making the numbers up, why are they refusing to show Manitobans the proof?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Oh, where's the proof? The Leader of the Opposition heckles from across the way, Honourable Speaker. Well, the proof is in the graduations that I attend on a regular basis, including the one where the internationally educated nurses who for years had no pathway to practice, finally, under our government, have a pathway to practice on the front lines of our healthcare system. 62 graduates joining our healthcare system. And Honourable Speaker, I was a little sad because about half of those grads couldn't make it to the grad that day. And do you want to know why? They were busy working the jobs that they earned on the in our healthcare system. Something the member opposite didn't bother to do when she was advising Heather Stephenson.
The Honourable Member for Roblin on a final supplementary question.
Manitobans are seeing a different kind of proof, Honourable Speaker. They're seeing ER wait times that are longer now than they were 2 years ago. Wait times for surgeries and diagnostics that are longer now than they were 2 years ago. A disaster in home care. The fact that HSC has been grey-listed for 2.5 months. Wow. Things are getting worse under this NDP Minister of Health, not better. But when asked to back up their talking points with data, the minister refuses. To again quote the Manitoba Nurses Union, that's not transparency, that's obstruction. Why is the NDP hiding this information from Manitobans?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
We're not. We've been very transparent as a government. We have happily shared that information with Manitobans because we recognize it's important that they can trust the data they're getting from our government. Now, I know that Manitobans, including the Manitoba Nurses Union, has a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt. 7.5 years of being gaslit, mistreated, disrespected, living in chaos under the previous PC government will do that to a person. Yeah. We're going to keep doing the work of being transparent, reporting these numbers to Manitobans and reassuring them that we're moving healthcare in the right direction. The member opposite, you'll notice, didn't talk about vacancy rates because that's a good evidence right there that these numbers are moving in the right direction. Yep. Vacancy rates are improving. The member opposite can heckle me all she wants. What she should do is stand up and say, I'm sorry, Manitoba, for
Member's
cutting
time
healthcare.
has expired. The honourable member for Brandon West.
Honourable Speaker, let's talk about this transparency that the NDP tout. I've heard from my constituents in the Brandon area and industry as well, and they're terrified about this government's preference to award American companies contracts, and they're going to be losing staff because of it. Why is there no trust in the NDP? Because their actions don't meet their words. To my colleague for Brandon East, I've heard from the constituents, I've heard from businesses, and I'm sure he has too. Has he raised this at the caucus table?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, the member for Brandon West knows good and well that Brandon constituents trust our government to deliver results for them. He knows that. One only has to look as recent as the election in Spruce Woods to recognize that there's something happening. The winds in Brandon are shifting.
Order.
Honourable Speaker, on this side of the House, no matter where you live in this province, we are focused on delivering for you, making sure you've got jobs, you've got affordability, and better health care.
Yeah.
The honourable member for Brandon West on a supplementary question.
Let's look at the results of Spruce Woods just over my shoulder here, on our side of the House. It's about putting the people who sent us here first. These million-dollar contracts to American companies as a trade war is going on, and Manitobans and Brandonites are getting put out of work. Yeah. Businesses are saying loud and clear they don't trust this government, and they don't have their best interest at heart. And still, this minister is okay with millions of dollars flowing into an American company. Why is this minister okay with putting American companies before local residents?
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Honourable Speaker, members opposite still don't get it. They spent their last few months thanking Donald Trump for his tariffs. Then they come in today and defend Donald Trump for even higher tariffs. It's such a failed approach that Manitobans are simply rejecting. The business community is rejecting. On this side of the House, actually, we're investing in Brandon. We're investing in the Westman. I announced it last week, and so I'm happy to announce it here today that we're investing $150,000 over 3 years in the Grow Brandon initiative to support Westman economic development. Something members opposite never did because they didn't respect rural areas across the province. We're doing that work, getting to know, working with those communities and supporting their economic development and growth.
The honourable member for Brandon West on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, with the government signing a $12 million deal with Aramark, there is no room for local suppliers. I've heard loud and clear from area employers, and they're worried that they will have to lay off staff and lose these government contracts. No wonder no one trusts this government. It's all smoke and mirrors. Clearly, the member for Brandon East isn't advocating for Westman businesses. Who does he work for? His constituents? Or is he working for his premier that he's so afraid of? Yeah.
The honourable member for Brandon East.
2 new schools in Brandon, 18th Street, Prairie Innovation Centre, Brandon University. I know the member from Brandon West was a little upset that we were paving that road right in front of his office. And he knows just as good as everyone else that the expansion of Maryland Park School would not have happened if it weren't for this government. Right. They couldn't read a census when they built the school that we funded, that we announced. So get off of your high horse to say that we don't care about Brandon, because we're the only ones who ever have.
Order. The honourable member for Midland.
Honourable Speaker, last week the CD Howe Fiscal Accountability Report ranked this NDP dead last for the province's finances and their lack of transparency. In a public report, it states, especially lately, the gaps between surpluses or deficits in budget projections and end-of-year results are disconcertingly large. How can Manitobans trust this NDP government with their taxpayers when the NDP lacks any fiscal transparency or any fiscal accountability?
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Let's be clear that the result of this report was based on the 2023-24 public accounts, which clearly shows that the former failed PC government racked up a $2 billion deficit. That's what this grade is on. It's actually a grade that Manitobans should be very clear about is based on their record. Their failed government ran up the tab before the election day, and that's why we have this grade that we're talking about today. So let's be very clear about this. Let's be transparent for Manitobans. This is based on the 2023-24 public accounts, which they showed the failing grade.
The honourable member for Midland on a supplementary question.
The audited public accounts also clearly states that the former PC government left a $373 million. The Auditor General stated last year's fiscal statements had an unprecedented number of errors. That's under this NDP government. Back-to-back deficits, wrong budget projections, and unprecedented errors. This is the fiscal record for this failed finance minister since he took office. Since the NDP clearly cannot manage the province's books, why should Manitobans trust them with their hard-earned dollars?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Honourable Speaker, I just want to paint the picture for Manitobans so they're very clear about this issue. For 7.5 years, the failed former PC government ran sloppy and shady accounting where they didn't get one single unqualified opinion to their work. Within our first year, we actually had a clean sheet. Make sure that we had a clean audited opinion, fully unqualified, to show Manitobans that not only are we transparent, but we're putting Manitoba back on a solid fiscal footing. That's the work that we're doing. We slashed their $2 billion deficit down by 42%. That's real action to make sure we're taking care of the books and the finances for all Manitobans.
The honourable member for Midland on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, experts are saying this province can't manage their finances. Credit rating agencies don't believe that they can actually balance the books by 2027. Reputable institutes are ranking this NDP government dead last. The AG is finding unprecedented errors under their leadership. The NDP is collecting hundreds of millions of dollars in additional taxation. Will the D- minister stand up and admit he has completely lost control of Manitoba's finances?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Honourable Speaker, members opposite talks about experts. Well, the experts at MNP who did an independent report said the PC decisions were, quote, risky and, quote, that they were not being transparent. Now, that's what the experts say about the former failed PC government. Also, what experts say is that we're created 5,300 new jobs here, including added manufacturing jobs. We also know that we took their unconscionable $2 billion deficit down by 42%, and we also know that we had a clean audit report. We're putting Manitoba back on a good fiscal footing, despite the bad and sloppy decision-making made by the former failed PC government.
Order, please. I would just remind all members that when referring to any member, that it has to be by their constituency name or their ministerial title, not any other names. The honourable member for Tyndall Park.
I'd like to thank the Health Minister's Office for accepting information from previous emails on this case this morning. In 2014, Rosemary was diagnosed with alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency ZZ a genetic condition which severely affects a person's lungs. Her prescribed medication, Prolastin, had always been delivered to her home, where a nurse would give her weekly infusions. Earlier this year, the government made the decision to switch patients from Prolastin to a different medication, Glacia. Prior to this decision, she never had to pay a pharmacare deductible. However, with the new medication, her deductible costs $3,000. Can the minister explain why the change in medication?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
I want to thank the member for Tyndall Park for this question, and I do really appreciate her reaching out in advance, bringing this to the floor of the House. Due to the timing of it, I can say here that I don't have all of the details I would like to have to be able to respond in the House. My team, my office has been going back and forth, has been in communication with this Manitoban, and we have given direction to the department to get more information on this issue. And I would just like to say here, I do believe that this person is a gallery guest today. Hi, I'm very happy to meet with you and have a conversation about what you've been experiencing and how we can help.
The Honourable Member for Tyndall Park on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, earlier this year, Rosemary was forced to change medications and now has to pay $3,000 a year on her deductible because of this government's decisions. On top of this, at 67 years of age, with a serious lung condition, she's now forced to go to Health Sciences Centre to pick up her medication when the former medication used to be delivered to her home. The box for this medication is very heavy, placing a further burden on her physical health. Honourable Speaker, why does Rosemary now have to go to the Health Sciences Centre to pick up her medication, and is there anything that can be done to reinstate having it delivered?
Order, please. Just before that, I would remind all members to please make sure they direct their comments through the chair and not actively try and engage members in the public gallery. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I recognize you've given us that feedback before, so I appreciate that reminder. Rosemary, I apologize for not using your name in my first response. I think it's really important that when issues like this are brought to my office, that we get as much information as we possibly can, and we do work with folks directly to see how we can help. And so this is something my office is actively looking into. We've directed the department. I've directed the department to expedite their work on this particular file, and I will sit down and have a conversation with her to make sure that her needs are addressed, however we can on our team, and make sure that we can communicate moving forward in a way that is most helpful.
The Honourable Member for Tyndall Park on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, the federal government provides millions of dollars across Canada to support a program for pharmacare. It is ultimately up to each province how this money is then spent. Now, unfortunately, it is becoming clearer that the way that this government is distributing money is not meeting the needs of many Manitobans who are unable to keep up with the increase of everyday needs. The increases in Rosemary's pharmacare deductible, $3,000 under this NDP government, despite the federal funding, is making her already limited lifestyle unsustainable. What is currently being done for Manitobans who are now struggling to afford and in many cases access their life-saving medications?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
I do want to be clear, we value the relationship we have with the federal government. We will work with all levels of government to make sure as much resources coming to Manitoba as possible so that we can make the right investments in healthcare. I want to be clear, the federal government could certainly do more, which is why we continue to advocate to the federal government to recognize every jurisdiction's unique needs and work with Manitoba so we can meet Manitobans' needs. I would ask that member, she can talk to her federal counterparts and ask them to ensure that their federal transfers remain stable. That is a real concern across the country, certainly here in Manitoba. We want to see that budget reflect stability for our federal health transfers and all transfers here in Manitoba. And I will make sure that I sit down and meet with Rosemary, including the member from Tyndall Park as well, to have a conversation about the issue she's brought forward.
Time has expired. The Honourable Member for Tuxedo.
Honourable Speaker, the investments our government is making in healthcare has made Manitoba a beacon of hope for medical professionals around the world, including doctors from the United States who are looking north to join our front lines of care. Under the previous PC government, ERs closed, staff were fired, and the culture became toxic. Recruitment was an utter failure because no one wanted to work in healthcare while the PCs were in charge. But that has changed. With 3,400 net new healthcare workers, there's much to be hopeful about. Can the Minister of Health tell us more about physician recruitment efforts and what they're hearing from the U.S. doctors?
Great.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Thank you for my colleagues for that great question, and thank you for getting through that despite the Leader of the Opposition shushing you during your question. It's shameful, his behavior on that side of the House. I am so pleased to announce in this chamber that our recruitment efforts have led to 33 new physicians from the United States calling Manitoba home. They are part of the record number of net new doctors our government has welcomed, along with 1,200 net new nurses to the front lines. As the Free Press editorial board points out, our efforts to make Manitoba more attractive to international doctors is all very, very promising, and that our government should be applauded for these efforts. While we welcome the praise, we know there's much more work to do, Honourable Speaker. The real question is, when will the PCs get on board with fixing healthcare and join the Free Press in applauding our government?
The Honourable Member for La-Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Day in and day out, we're seeing how this NDP government is failing at growing and developing our economic future. The ag industry is absolutely no different. 2 weeks ago, I asked the Ag Minister why he has done absolutely nothing to secure new markets in Asia, where his counterpart in Saskatchewan successfully locked down more than $1 billion in new deals. So my question was answered by the Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations, to which he knew nothing about any ongoing talks that this minister is doing. So my question today for the minister is, what is he doing for Manitoba trade relations?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and it is my pleasure to stand up today and educate the agriculture critic about the opportunities that last week alone I was at the Tri-National Court. I had the opportunity to meet up with the Federal Agriculture Minister in Mexico City, and we talked about the potential of opportunities of trade and development continues to happen. But also, I had the opportunity to meet with the Federal Agriculture Minister, the Provincial Agri Minister from Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario. Yet the members opposite choose not to have any kind of dialogue or self-educate themselves. They're always on this negative road. That's just a carryover from them time in government, and obviously it remains in their mindset not to care much about what agriculture is all about.
Time has expired. The Honourable Member for La-Vérendrye on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. That answer was clear to see that the minister has come back with no new trade deals. So I'll shift now to specifically the beef industry. Manitoba and Canada exports more than 50% of our beef. 75% of that alone goes to the United States. We've heard talk south of the border that there's going to be trade expansions, potentially disruptions for Manitoba. What is this ag minister doing to secure new and stable markets for the Manitoba beef industry that's seeing record high beef prices and continually shrinking beef herd numbers?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. It's the first time I heard members opt to talk about the Manitoba beef industry. Let's talk about a 300% tariff they put on the Crown lands and made the agriculture producers suffer because of that. What you have done is chased away potential young producers that could be making financial benefits this year, but yet they take no exception of their decision a number of years ago to chase away young generational ranchers in the province of Manitoba to today, if they were able to ranch, they would be in a better financial position simply because of the decisions those made, and 3 ag ministers later, they still did not learn what they've done to the province of Manitoba and our beef producers that make our country—
Time has expired. The Honourable Member for La-Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, well, unfortunately, there's only one single talking point on that side of the House from this failed Ag Minister. 2 years this Ag Minister has been in his role, and the cattle numbers in Manitoba continue to slip on a decline. Record high beef prices, and producers are saying they feel no support and stability from the Manitoba government. So my question once again is, while other provinces are sending their leaders around the world to secure our markets, this minister is sitting in his place on his hands. What is this minister going to do for Manitoba beef producers?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
Honourable Speaker, I sense the member opposite is not listening to what I just reported to him. He's got a robotic means of asking questions, and that's all he knows. But I do know another thing that's an important factor. They closed 20 ag offices throughout the province of Manitoba. They're shutting them down, we're building them, and that's important for the ag. To the beef industry, I wonder if the member opposite ever experienced chasing cattle, know what it's like to sacrifice their time, and the young generation of people that have worked so hard, and yet today, Honourable Speaker, they decline to admit the fact that they made a major mistake for the benefit of the agriculture.
Expired. The Honourable Member for Spruce Woods.
Oh, I thought the question.
My mistake.
Okay.
The time for oral questions has expired. The petitions. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition.
Order, please. Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition has the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number one, Kelly Verway, a beloved young woman from Portage-la-Prairie, Manitoba, was tragically killed in a car crash caused by a repeat violent offender with a long criminal history. Number two, despite repeated violations of his bail conditions, the offender was free to roam the streets and to ultimately claim Kelly's life. This tragedy was entirely preventable. Number three, while the criminal code falls under federal jurisdiction, provinces have been given the responsibility for the administration of justice, allowing for meaningful provincial action on bail reform to ensure public safety. Number four, other provinces have taken proactive steps to strengthen bail enforcement, but Manitoba has not used all of the available tools to address this issue effectively. Number five, the provincial government has the ability and the responsibility to advocate for and implement measures that protect its citizens by ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into our communities without proper safeguards. Number six, immediate action is required to close gaps in the justice system that allow dangerous criminals to remain free, which puts innocent Manitobans at risk. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number one, to urge the provincial government to take immediate and decisive action on bail reform to address serious deficits in enforcement by utilizing all available provincial mechanisms to strengthen warrant enforcement, increase bail supervision, and opposing release of offenders, thus ensuring that repeat violent offenders are held accountable and the public safety is prioritized over leniency. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to immediately repeal provisions of the criminal code that allow for the continued victimization of law-abiding Manitobans while granting repeat offenders additional rights. Honourable Speaker, this petition was signed by Clara Griffiths, Peter Anas, and Clint Jackson, along with many, many, many other Manitobans.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Roblin.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. And the background to this petition is as follows. Phoenix School, a kindergarten to grade 5 school located in Headingley, has experienced consistent enrollment growth over the last several years. Enrollment is expected to reach 275 students in the next 2 years. Because the school is now over capacity, the school division has had to install portable classrooms on site as of fall 2024. For several consecutive years, the top capital priority of the St. James Assiniboia School Division has been the renovation and expansion of Phoenix School. In 2022, the Phoenix School expansion and renovation project was approved to proceed to the design phase. The project included, among other amenities, a new gymnasium, 2 new classrooms, a multi-purpose room, and room for 74 childcare spaces. In June 2024, the school division received notice from the provincial government that the project has been deferred. There is no guarantee if or when the project will move forward. There are currently hundreds of children on a wait list for childcare in Headingley. The daycare operator in Phoenix School has been told that they will continue to have space within the school for the 2024-2025 school year only, that further expansion of childcare space within the school is not possible, and that space may be reduced moving forward due to the shortage of classrooms. If new space is not constructed as planned, many families may be left without childcare. It is critical that the expansion and renovation of Phoenix School proceed as planned in order to support the needs of students, teachers, and families in the growing community of Headingley. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to proceed with the planned renovation and expansion of Phoenix School without further delay. And this petition is signed by Mallory McEachern, Jennifer Witcher-Fast, Laurel Bushow, and many, many other Manitobans.
The honourable member for Borderland.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, the federal government has mandated a consumption-based carbon tax with a stated goal of financially pressuring Canadians to make decisions to reduce their carbon emissions. Number 2, Manitoba Hydro estimates that even with a high-efficiency furnace, the carbon tax is costing the average family over $200 annually, even more for those with older furnaces. Number 3, home heating in Manitoba is not a choice or a decision for Manitobans to make. It is a necessity of life with an average of almost 200 days below 0 degrees Celsius annually. Number 4, the federal government has selectively removed the carbon tax off of home heating oil in the Atlantic provinces of Canada, but has indicated they have no intention to provide the same relief to Manitobans heating their homes. Number 5, Manitoba Hydro indicates that natural gas heating is one of the most affordable options available to Manitobans, and it can be cost prohibitive for households to replace their heating source. Number 6, premiers across Canada, including in the Atlantic provinces that benefit from this decision, have collectively sent a letter to the federal government calling on it to extend the carbon tax exemption to all forms of home heating with the exception of Manitoba. Number 7, Manitoba is one of the only provincial jurisdictions to have not agreed with the stance that all Canadians' home heating bills should be exempt from the carbon tax. And number 8, provincial leadership in other jurisdictions have already committed to removing the federal carbon tax from home heating bills. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to remove the federal carbon tax on home heating bills for all Manitobans to provide them much needed relief. This petition has been signed by Lisa Penner, Mary Reimer, Margaret Wiebe, and many, many, many Manitobans.
The member for Brandon West.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Kelly Verway, a beloved young woman from Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba, was tragically killed in a car crash caused by a repeat violent offender with a long criminal history. Number 2, despite repeated violations of his bail conditions, the offender was free to roam the streets and to ultimately claim Kelly's life. This tragedy was entirely preventable. Number 3, while the criminal code falls under federal jurisdiction, provinces have been given the responsibility for the administration of justice, allowing for meaningful provincial action on bail reform to ensure public safety. Number 4, other provinces have taken proactive steps to strengthen bail enforcement, but Manitoba has not used all available tools to address this issue effectively. Number 5, the provincial government has the ability and the responsibility to advocate for and implement measures that protect its citizens by ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into our community without proper safeguards. Number 6, immediate action is required to close gaps in the justice system that allow dangerous criminals to remain free, which puts innocent Manitobans at risk. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to take immediate and decisive action on bail reform to address serious deficits in enforcement by utilizing all available provincial mechanisms to strengthen warrant enforcement, increasing bail supervision, and opposing release of offenders, thus ensuring that repeat violent offenders are held accountable and that public safety is prioritized over leniency. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to immediately repeal provisions of the criminal code that allow for the continued victimization of law-abiding Manitobans while granting repeat offenders additional rights. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Deputy Speaker, this petition was signed by Maureen Lee, Edith Grantham, Bernice McMillan, and many, many other fine Manitobans.
The member for Portage La Prairie.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. The background of this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage La Prairie is currently located in Manitoba and is on number 1 highway in the Southern Health Santé Sud Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients, as well as reduce the burden on stretcher services and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around Portage La Prairie are Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nation reserves. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6, located in the close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. The aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. This is signed by Dave Rogers, Tom Major, Dorothy Blight, and many, many, many more Manitobans. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
The member for Lac du Bonny.
Thank you, Assistant Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly. And the background to this petition is as follows. Number one, ensuring that teachers have a robust background in the subjects they teach is essential for maintaining high-quality education and fostering well-rounded learning experiences for all Manitoba students. Number two, the recent amendments by the province of Manitoba to the teaching certificates and qualifications regulation under the Education Administration Act have significantly lowered the standards for subject area expertise required for teacher certification. Number three, these amendments eliminated all subject area requirements for teaching certification, including major and minor teachable subjects and subject-specific requirements for early middle years stream. Number four, specifically, the amendments removed bullet, senior years credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor. Bullet, early middle years credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor. And bullet, early middle years credit requirements for specific subjects including math, physical or biological science, English or French, and history and or geography. Number five, key stakeholders such as parents, post-secondary educators outside the faculties of education, and business partners were not consulted about the changes. Number six, the removal of subject-specific requirements undermines the educational quality in Manitoba schools by permitting teachers to enter the classroom without sufficient training in core academic areas, thereby compromising the education that Manitoba students receive. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number one, to urge the Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning to reverse recent amendments to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation that weaken subject area requirements for teacher certification and to reinstate teachable majors and minors and early middle years requirements, which are essential for ensuring teachers have strong knowledge in core subject areas. Number two, to urge the provincial government to address teacher shortages through alternative measures that uphold rigorous subject area standards, which are critical for providing quality education to all Manitoba students. Honourable Assistant Speaker, this petition is signed by Sylvia Groinis, Eve Radai, Kim Saxler, and many, many more fine Manitobans.
The honourable member for Agassiz.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number one, due to the evolving scientific evidence, the Canadian Cancer Society, CCS, is now urging all provinces and territories to lower the starting age for breast screening to 40. Number two, based off of 2023 treatment standards, it is estimated that screening women annually for breast cancer starting at age 40 will save the Canadian healthcare system $460 million annually. Number three, after non-melanoma skin cancers, breast cancer is the most common form of cancer among Canadian women. 1 in 8 Canadian women will be diagnosed with breast cancer during their lifetime, and 1 in 36 will die from it. This is 30,500 diagnoses and 5,500 deaths every year, and 84 diagnoses and 15 deaths every day. Number 4, early detection of breast cancer will lead to better outcomes for patients, with better odds of survival and less severe cases. Women in their 40s who have access to mammograms have a 45% lower mortality rate from breast cancer than those who don't receive screening. Number 5, every other province and territory in Canada has already lowered the breast cancer screening age or announced their intentions to do so. Other provinces in Canada have already commenced the work of expanding screening programs and hiring additional technologists into their public health care system. Number 6, Manitoba is currently behind the rest of the country and has no formal plan to increase its screening capacity or lower the breast cancer screening age. Number 7, lowering the breast cancer screening age to 40 in Manitoba will reduce long-term costs to the healthcare system because cancers that are caught earlier are typically less complicated to treat. We petition the Legislative Assembly as follows: to urge the provincial government to immediately put forward a plan to increase breast cancer screening capacity and lower the breast cancer screening age to 40. This petition is signed by Janice Bailey, Brian Bailey, Jay Dalgleish, and many, many more Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Lakeside.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, and I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Kelly Verway, a beloved young woman from Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba, was tragically killed in a car crash caused by a repeat violent offender with a long criminal history. Number 2, despite repeated violations of his bail conditions, the offender was free to roam the streets and to ultimately claim Kelly's life. This tragedy was entirely preventable. Number 3, while the criminal code falls under federal jurisdiction, provinces have been given the responsibility for the administration of justice, allowing for meaningful provincial action on bail reform to ensure public safety. Number 4, other provinces have taken proactive steps to strengthen bail enforcement, but Manitoba has not used all the available tools to address this issue effectively. Number 5, the provincial government has the ability and the responsibility to advocate for and implement measures that protect its citizens by ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into our communities without proper safeguards. Number 6, immediate action is required to close gaps in the justice system that allow dangerous criminals to remain free, which puts innocent Manitobans at risk. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to take immediate and decisive action on bail reform to address serious deficits in enforcement by utilizing all available provincial mechanisms to strengthen warrant enforcement increasing bail supervision, and opposing release of offenders, thus ensuring that repeat violent offenders are held accountable and that public safety is prioritized over leniency. And 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to immediately repeal provisions of the criminal code that allow for the continued victimization of law-abiding Manitobans while granting repeat offenders additional rights. This petition has been signed by Richard Vozier, Jaden Ayoy, and Brad Proctor, and many, many Manitobans. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background of this petition is as follows. 1. Due to evolving scientific evidence, the Canadian Cancer Society is now urging all provinces and territories to lower the starting age of breast screening to 40. Number 2. Based off 2023 statement standards, it is estimated that screening women annually for breast cancer starting at age 40 will save the Canadian healthcare system $460 million annually. Number 3. After non-melanoma skin cancers, breast cancer is the most common form of cancer among Canadian women. 1 in 8 Canadian women will be diagnosed with breast cancer during their lifetime, and 1 in 36 will die from it. This is 30,500 diagnoses and 5,500 deaths every year, and 84 diagnoses and 15 deaths every day. 4. Early detection of breast cancer will lead to better outcomes in patients, with better odds of survival and less severe cases. Women in their 40s who have access to mammograms have a 44% lower mortality rate from breast cancer than those who don't receive screening. Number 5, every other province and territory in Canada has already lowered the breast cancer screening age or announced their intentions to do so. Other provinces in Canada have already commenced the work of expanding screening programs and hiring additional technologists into their public health care system. Number 6, Manitoba is currently behind the rest of the country and has no formal plan to increase its screening capacity or lower the breast cancer screening age. Number 7, lowering the breast cancer screening age to 40 in Manitoba will reduce long-term costs to the healthcare system because cancers that are caught early are typically less complicated to treat. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to immediately put forward a plan to increase cancer screening capacity and lower the breast screening age to 40. This petition has been signed by Susie Dick, Jeremy Bongard, and Dustin Cooper, and many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for La Vérendrye.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, the background to this petition is as follows. 1. Provincial Road 210, PR 210, is a 117.3 kilometre, 72.8 mile highway in the Eastman region of Manitoba that connects the towns and communities of Woodridge, Marchand, La Broquerie, St. Anne, Landmark, Linden, Ile-des-Chênes, and St. Adolphe. 2, a significant portion of PR 210 also runs through the constituency of La Vérendrye. 3, PR 210 is a significant commuting route for Eastman families and is also notably used by those in the agriculture, tourism, trade and commerce industries. 4, the condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in an unacceptable state of disrepair. 5, the planned pavement upgrade was promised more than 20 years ago when it was constructed with a flat surface suitable for pavement, but has yet to be completed. 6, the condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in such bad shape that firefighters, police, and paramedic services are severely delayed when responding to emergencies. 7, the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, as well as the Premier, have a duty to respond to infrastructure needs identified by rural communities. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize the reconstruction of Provincial Road 210. 2, to urge the provincial government to include the stretch of Provincial Road 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 in its reconstruction plans. This petition has been signed by Charlene McCree, Lisa Coulter, Hank Dick, and many, many other Manitobans.
The member for Dawson Trail.
I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Provincial Road 210, PR 210, is a 117.3 kilometer, 72.8 mile highway in the Eastman region of Manitoba that connects the towns and communities of Woodridge, Marchand, La Broquerie, St. Anne, Landmark, Linden, Ile-des-Chênes, and St. Adolphe. Number 2, a significant portion of the PR 210 also runs through the constituency of La Vérendrye. Number 3, PR 210 is a significant commuting route for Eastman families and is also notably used by those in the agricultural, tourism, trade, and commerce industries. Number 4, the condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in unacceptable state of disrepair. Number 5, the planned pavement upgrade was promised more than 20 years ago when it was constructed with a flat surface suitable for pavement, but has yet to be completed. Number 6, the condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in such bad shape that firefighters, police, and paramedic services are severely delayed when responding to emergencies. Number 7, the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, as well as the Premier, have a duty to respond to infrastructure needs identified by rural communities. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize the reconstruction of Provincial Road 210. Number 2, to urge the provincial government to include the stretch of the Provincial Road 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 in its reconstruction plans. This petition has been signed by many, many Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Midland.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. The background to this petition is as follows. 1, ensuring that teachers have a robust background in the subjects they teach is essential for maintaining high-quality education and fostering well-rounded learning experiences for all Manitoba students. 2, the recent amendments by the Province of Manitoba to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation under the Education Administration Act have significantly lowered the standards for subject area expertise required for teacher certification. 3, these amendments eliminated all subject area requirements for teacher certification, including major and minor teachable subjects and subject-specific requirements for early middle years streams. 4, specifically, the amendments removed senior years credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, early middle years credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, and early middle years credit requirements for specific subjects, including math, physical or biological science, English or French, and history and/or geography. 5, key stakeholders such as parents, post-secondary educators outside the faculties of education, and business partners were not consulted about the changes. 6, the removal of subject-specific requirements undermines the educational quality in Manitoba's schools by permitting teachers to enter the classroom without sufficient training in core academic areas, thereby compromising the education that Manitoba students receive. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1, to urge the Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning to reverse recent amendments to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation that weaken subject area requirements for teacher certification, and to reinstate teachable majors and minors and early middle years requirements, which are essential for ensuring teachers have strong knowledge in core subject areas. 2, to urge the provincial government to address teacher shortages through alternative measures that uphold rigorous subject area standards, which are critical for providing quality education to all Manitoba students. This is signed by Don Weeb, Ken Rutter, Cor Lauder, and many, many more Manitobans.
The member for Swan River.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number one, ensuring that teachers have a robust background in the subjects they teach is essential for maintaining high-quality education and fostering well-rounded learning experiences for all Manitoba students. Number two, the recent amendments by the Province of Manitoba to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications regulation under the Education Administration Act have significantly lowered the standards for subject area expertise required for teacher certification. Number three, these amendments eliminated all subject area requirements for teacher certification, including major and minor teachable subjects and subject-specific requirements for early middle years streams. Number four, specifically, the amendments removed senior years credit requirements in a approved teachable major and minor. Early middle year credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor. And early middle year credit requirements for specific subjects including math, physical or biological science, English or French, and history and or geography. Number five, key stakeholders such as parents, post-secondary educators outside the facilities of education, and business partners were not consulted about the changes. Number six, the removal of subject-specific requirements undermines the educational quality in Manitoba schools by permitting teachers to enter classroom without sufficient training in core academic areas, thereby compromising the education that Manitoba students receive. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number one, to urge the Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning to reverse recent amendments to the teaching certificates and qualifications regulation that weaken subject area requirements for teacher certification, and to reinstate teachable majors and minors and early middle years requirements, which are essential for ensuring teachers have strong knowledge in core subject areas. Number two, to urge the provincial government to address teacher shortages through alternative measures that uphold rigorous subject area standards, which are critical for providing quality education to all Manitoba students. This petition has been signed by Jens Frank, Caleb Hasler, Robert Anderson, and many, many, many other Manitobans.
The member for Red River North.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Acting Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number one, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction of the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from the added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number two, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and a computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number three, Portage La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the #1 highway in Southern Health, Saint-Desude Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number four, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients and will also reduce the burden on stretcher service and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number five, located around the Portage La Prairie area, the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nations reserves. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to service and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number six, located in the close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number seven, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. This petition is signed by Ida Lorraine Miller, Gary Bullock, Betty McConnell, and many, many more Manitobans. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Riding Mountain.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. These are the reasons for this petition. 1. Upgrading Provincial Trunk Highway 45 will accelerate economic development as it will enhance connectivity, facilitate efficient transportation, and promote economic growth in the region. 2. Economic development will be further enhanced as improved road infrastructure attracts businesses, encourages investment, and creates job opportunities. 3. Roads meeting the Roads and Transportation Association of Canada, RTAC, standards improve both safety and efficiency as they can handle heavier loads, reducing the number of trips required for goods transportation. 4, safer roads further benefit both commuters and commercial vehicles, minimizing accidents and damage. 5, upgrading to our tax standards ensures resilience to challenges caused by climate change, such as thawing and flooding, which negatively impact road conditions. 6, efficient transportation networks contribute to Manitoba's economic competitiveness, as upgraded roads support interprovincial and international goods movement, benefiting both trade and commerce. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to take the necessary steps to upgrade Provincial Trunk Highway 45 from Russell to Provincial Trunk Highway 10 to meet our tax standards. This petition has been signed by Barry Wishart, Lauren Shaw, and Adrian Falloon, and many, many Manitobans.
The member for Spruce Woods.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. Deputy Speaker. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Provincial Trunk Highway 34, PTH 34, is a 2-lane provincial primary highway that runs from the U.S. border where it meets with ND 20 to PTH 16 at the town of Gladstone. Number 2, PTH 34 runs north-south in the south central region of the province. It is the main highway for the towns of Crystal City, Pilot Mound, and Holland, serving as main corridor for the semi-trailers, farm equipment, daily drivers, and local school bus routes. Number 3, a new bridge is currently being constructed over the Assiniboine River at PTH 34, north of Holland, in the RM of Victoria. The bridge serves as an important north-south link over the Assiniboine River between the Trans-Canada Highway and the PTH number 2. 4, the deterioration of PTH 34 has raised major concerns due to its narrow shoulders and numerous deep potholes that pose serious safety risks, considering farmers often need to use the highway to transport heavy equipment. Number 5, construction of a new bridge in accordance current design codes and the RTAC standard located on the PTH 34 crossing the Assiniboine River will support trade and commerce and improve public safety in the area, and also accommodate flood events on the Assiniboine River. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to address the conditions of the Provincial Trunk Highway 34, making the necessary upgrades to our tax standard, and to resurface the road once the new bridge has been completed. This has been signed by Christine Watson, Brandy Lees, and Sandra Mikowski, and many, many more Manitobans.
The honourable member for Turtle Mountain.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background of this petition is as follows. Number 1, all Manitobans deserve a feel safe in their homes and communities. Number 2, throughout Manitoba, rural communities are seeing dramatic increases in criminal activities targeting individuals and property, which has eroded their sense of safety. Number 3, through communities pay taxes for RCMP coverage, many have lost local policing as RCMP detachments consolidate. This situation is unacceptable to communities who expect a level of service and police protection. Number 4, the lack of community policing has led to many Manitobans losing faith in the rule of law and availability of emergency service when they need it. Number 5, the provincial government has the responsibility to act to ensure the communities receive adequate service and coverage from police resources. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to immediately work with the RCMP to restore rural community policing and provide adequate resources to protect Manitoba communities. This has been signed by Deb Smith, Dennis Smith, and Dwight Berry, and many, many Manitobans.
No further petitions. Grievances. The Honourable Member for Dawson Trail.
Thank you for the opportunity to stand in this House on a grievance. Today, this grievance is of utmost importance. I want to talk to you about something that affects all of us, whether we live in a busy city or a small town, and that's rail safety. Specifically, in this grievance, I want to explore why it matters and how the choices we make each day contribute to safety, and the most importantly, how we can honor those we've lost by doing better, by being more aware, more engaged, and more committed to change. Railways are a vital part of Canada's infrastructure. They help shape this country, connecting communities, transporting goods, enabling travel, and fueling economic growth. But as essential as railways are, they come with real risk. Trains are massive, fast, and powerful. And unlike a car, they can't stop quickly. Once a train is in motion, it can take more than a kilometer to come to a complete stop, even in an emergency. That means the responsibility to avoid tragedy lies largely on what happens at crossings and how people interact with railway tracks. Unfortunately, too many of these interactions end in tragedy. Every year in Canada, we see hundreds of incidents involving railways, whether collisions at a crossing or people trespassing on tracks. Many of these are result in serious injuries, and too many result in death. And while numbers can help us understand the scope of the problem, we must never forget behind every number is a name, a family, and a community left grieving. One of those names is Karma Annette Brown, a bright, vibrant 11-year-old girl from St. Anne, Manitoba. On September 15th, 2017, Karma was riding her bicycle home after school. She was using a pedestrian-style railway crossing in her town, a place that many pass through regularly, but that day something went terribly wrong. Karma was struck by a passing train and tragically lost her life. This wasn't an isolated incident or a random accident. It was a preventable tragedy, and it revealed some serious flaws in how that crossing was designed. A Transportation Safety Board investigation found that while the crossing technically met regulatory standards for pedestrian use, it was not designed for cyclists. That's an important distinction. The investigation identified several hazards. Gaps between the wooden ties forced people to look down to watch their footing, especially dangerous for someone on a bike. The approach to the crossing was abrupt and uneven, making it difficult to cross safely. Visibility of oncoming trains, particularly from one direction, was severely limited. And because cyclists move faster than walkers, they need more time and space to notice and react to a train. This crossing did not provide that. Following the report, the TSB made several safety recommendations, including the need for improving sight lines, better design, and the installation of barriers that would require cyclists to dismount, forcing them to slow down and be more cautious. They also suggested looking into warning lights, gates, or auditory signals. To its credit, the town of St. Anne, with the help of CN Rail and Transport Canada, took action. Maze-style barriers were installed at this crossing, designed to slow down cyclists, encouraging dismounts, and increase alertness. It was an important step, but one that came too late. We owe it to Karma and every person lost to a railway incident to ensure their story leads to real listening change. In Karma's memory, I introduced a private member's bill to establish Rail Safety Awareness Week here in Manitoba. This week serves as a time for education and action, especially for young people, to teach them how to stay safe around tracks and trains. And this is why this awareness matters. Because rail safety isn't just about rules and regulations, it's about culture, choices, and community responsibility. What can we all do as individuals, families, communities to make our rails safer? Let me share 5 key steps that each of us can take. Stay aware and alert. This sounds simple, but it's crucial. When near train tracks, put your phone away. Remove your headphones. Stay focused. A moment of distraction can lead to a lifetime of regret. Obey all signals, and barriers. Never try to beat a train. It's not worth the risk. Lights, gates, and warning systems exist for a reason, to protect you. Respect them every time. Be extra cautious as cyclists or pedestrians. If a crossing seems unsafe, maybe the surface is rough or visibility is poor, dismount and walk your bike across. Take that extra moment to make sure it's clear. Your safety comes first. Advocate for better infrastructure. Safer crossings don't happen by accident. Communities need to push for clearer signage, better lighting, more warning systems, and regular inspections. These changes save lives, but they require public pressure and political will. Educate the next generation. Our children need to understand the risks around railways from an early age. Let's talk to them about the importance of respecting tracks and trains. Let's teach them that safety is a choice, one they have the power to make. To understand the broader picture, let's look at some of the statistics. In Manitoba, rail crossing accidents remain a persistent concern. According to the Transportation Safety Board, in 2012, there were 26 crossing accidents in the province. In 2016, that number dropped to 14. And in 2022, there were 13 crossing accidents reported. That downward trend is a good sign, but the numbers still represent real people, and some years are worse than others. In 2022, 3 people lost their lives in crossing incidents in Manitoba alone. Across Canada, the numbers are even more sobering. In 2023, there were 56 rail-related fatalities. Many of those were due to trespassing, people on tracks when they shouldn't have been, sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally. And those numbers have remained relatively consistent year after year. These stats reveal several critical truths. Crossing accidents haven't gone away. Even when the total number goes down, we continue to see preventable deaths at rail crossings across the country. The impact of each fatality is felt enormously. You can't measure loss in numbers alone. Every life lost in a world gone too soon. If a child who won't grow up, a family left grieving, or a community left with questions. Trespassing is a growing problem. More and more rail fatalities are linked to people walking along crossing tracks where they shouldn't. Whether it's taking a shortcut, posing for photos, or simply being unaware these actions carry serious, often fatal consequences. Let's not remember Karma Annette Brown simply as a stat or a case file. She was a daughter, a friend, a student, a young girl full of potential with her whole life ahead of her. Her story must not be forgotten. Let her memory inspire us to act, to be more careful, more vocal, more demanding, or safer systems. Let us remember that rail safety is not someone else's job, it's our job as citizens, as parents, as leaders, to make sure no other family experiences the kind of loss that Karma's family did. So I ask you today to carry this message forward. Be alert near tracks. Teach your children well. Respect the signals and warnings. Advocate for improvements. And never assume that it won't happen here, because it can, and it has. And together, we can make sure that it never happens again.
No further grievances. The orders of the day, government business, the Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Can you please call the ethics report motions on the Premier and on the Minister of Innovation and New Technology for debate, followed by calling the start of third reading of Bill 8, the Liquor, Gaming and Cannabis Control Amendment Act, followed by the calling of the start of third reading of Bill 23, the Public Interest Expression Defense Act.
It's been announced that we will deal with the ethics report motions, and then we will go to concurrence and third reading of Bill 8, followed by concurrence and third reading of Bill 23. So, as announced, the House will now begin consideration of the ethics motions relating to the Ethics Commissioner reports regarding the Honourable First Minister, dated August 27, 2025, and the Honourable Minister of Innovation and New Technology, dated July 16, 2025. I will remind members of the procedure for the consideration of these motions today. The debate shall be limited to one sitting day, and the House shall not adjourn until all members have had an opportunity to speak to the motions. The Speaker shall read the motion to the House to open the debate. Speaking times for all members are 10 minutes. Members may speak in the following sequence: the subject of the complaint or a member of their party, the complainant or a member of their party, a rotation between speakers from each recognized party, an independent member, any members wishing to speak repeating this rotation. I'll also remind members to keep their remarks relevant to the ethics reports relating to the motions under consideration today. Before reading each motion to open the debates, I will read into the record the relevant recommendations for each respondent contained in the Ethics Commissioner's reports. So the first ethics motion before the House relates to the First Minister. On page 11 of the August 27, 2025 report, the Ethics Commissioner wrote, "For the reasons given above, I conclude that the Premier has not breached the Conflict of Interest Members and Ministers Act as alleged by the member for Riding Mountain." The motion before the House then is that the Legislative Assembly accept the findings regarding the Honourable Member for Fort Rouge in the conclusion of the report of the Ethics Commissioner dated August 27, 2025. The floor is open for debate. The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I would like to start my remarks by thanking very much the Ethics Commissioner for his critical work in protecting the integrity of this legislature and upholding our democracy and our Constitution. We know that the Ethics Commissioner's work has not been easy. The Ethics Commissioner's work is somewhat novel and unprecedented, this being a new act. And we know that he has had much work, but we also know, Honourable Speaker, that in these times we cannot afford to take our democratic institutions for granted, and that's why the work of the Ethics Commissioner is so very important, and why it gives me great pleasure to stand today and be able to speak to this report on the Premier's air travel dated August 27, 2024. So as noted, Honourable Speaker, after a thorough investigation, the Ethics Commissioner has determined that our Premier and our government has upheld the law. Again, the Commissioner's conclusion, we will read into the record, quote, "For the reasons given above, I conclude that the Premier has not breached the Conflict of Interest Members and Ministers Act." Again, that quote is on page 11. We are very thankful for the Commissioner's continued guidance and due diligence in this matter. Over and over again, Honourable Speaker, our government has shown that we are here to work on behalf of the people for Manitoba. We're here to do that work with integrity and with transparency and with respect for our oaths of office. And Honourable Speaker, despite the members opposite's continued and multiple attempts to discredit our Premier, to disparage our Premier, to make allegations against our Premier, once again, Honourable Speaker, the Ethics Commissioner has used his great wisdom and all the powers afforded to him under the Act to reach this conclusion that, again, the Premier has not breached the Act. So, again, despite the members opposite's continued efforts to discredit our Premier, the Premier of Manitoba remains today the most popular Premier across the country. That's right. Hear, hear. And that's not only because of his high standard of ethics and moral integrity, but it's also because of the great leadership that he has shown in working with our counterparts across the country in safeguarding our economy. It's the great work and leadership that he has on our healthcare file, on our education file, and many other files across government. So again, we thank the Ethics Commissioner very much for his incredible work, and we thank and welcome the findings. And Honourable Speaker, it's unfortunate that respect for the will of the people of Manitoba and our democracy is not universal in this legislature. It's something that has been upheld by our Premier, as has been found in this ethics report. It's something that's upheld by our entire team. It's not something that's upheld by all members of this legislature, Honourable Speaker. This year, members of the PC Party in Manitoba were, unlike the Premier in this report, this year PC Party members were found guilty of breaking this law and violating our Constitution when they tried to ram through an illegal mining license after having lost the election in 2023. Unlike the findings of this ethics report about the Premier's air travel, for the first time in history, a different ethics report found that the former Premier, also Cliff Cullen, also the member of Red River North.
We're not talking about different ethics reports. We're very specifically talking about this report. So if the member would keep her comments relevant to the report that we're here today to discuss. The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you very much for your guidance, Honourable Speaker. It's the case, Honourable Speaker, that while our side of the House, as this ethics report has shown today, we're here to cooperate with the Ethics Commissioner and with his investigation. And it's also true that on this side of the House, we have always agreed with the judgment of the Ethics Commissioner, as we do here today, as we debate the findings of this ethics report regarding the Premier's air travel, in which he was found to, again, not have breached the report. We uphold the Ethics Commissioner's findings today, as we have in other as we have in other reports. It's unfortunate that not all members of this legislature are able to take accountability, are able to participate with transparency and openness in these types of ethics investigations. But what we've seen here today in the findings from the ethics report is that, once again, the Premier of Manitoba and your NDP government have been complying with the law as is set out in the Conflict of Interest Act. And as we've talked about, Honourable Speaker, the Conflict of Interest law is not complicated. It's actually quite an easy law to follow. You just have to make sure that you are only acting in the interest of Manitobans and that you're not acting in your own interest. That you have to uphold the law and you have to uphold the Constitution. Again, unfortunately, not every member of this House holds those same values and has been found to hold those same values by our very credible and experienced Ethics Commissioner. So the report in front of us here today from the Ethics Commissioner proved that our government has acted with integrity. We pay for our own flights, we don't abuse public dollars, and we respect the will of Manitobans. It's a strong contrast from the actions of members opposite. Right now, the PC leader is hiding his mentor, Heather Stephenson, from real accountability after she broke the law, unlike the actions that we take on this side of the House. The PC leader has also clearly told his friends, the member for Interlake Gimli and the member for Red River North, that it's okay for them to duck and hide when they see the media. The report in front of us here today shows a strong contrast between our government and the PC caucus. We know, and Manitobans know, that there is too much corruption in the PC party of Manitoba. There is nothing wrong with paying for your own flights, Honourable Speaker. The Ethics Commissioner found that in his report. There is something wrong, however, with breaking the law and violating the will of Manitobans after losing an election. The ethics report that we're debating here today has not made history. However, for the first time in Manitoba history, a former Premier and her ministers are being fined under the Act. Heather Stephenson.
Order, please. Order, please. I would remind the member to keep their comments very specific to this motion. Yes, I get there's some comparison, but let's not get carried away. Let's make sure we stay focused on the motion here before us. The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. While I very much appreciate your guidance, and I absolutely will keep my comments relevant, I think it's relevant to all Manitobans I think what's relevant to all Manitobans is that they expect all members of this legislature to uphold the law. The members of this legislature all took an oath of office, and all of us have sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and certainly to comply with, as I've articulated, what are actually quite simple parameters that are provided by the Conflict of Interest Act. Again, the debate that is on the floor today is that an ethics report regarding the Premier's air travel, in which the Premier was found to have not broken the law. The Premier, unlike members opposite, the Premier has not been fined. There are no recommendations of fines in the Ethics Commissioner's report that we are debating here today, and that is certainly should be welcome news for Manitobans, but it's also very concerning news that there are other members of this legislature that are sitting here today that have been fined by the Ethics Commissioner. The contrast, Honourable Speaker, between what the findings that we are debating here today regarding the unfounded complaint made by members opposite about the Premier's air travel. The findings found in this report here today are in stark contrast to findings that have been debated in this House very recently. Manitobans should receive this ethics report as welcome news, and I think Manitobans have many more questions for the members opposite about the Ethics Commissioner's report that came out in May of 2025. Suffice it to say that on this side of the House, our members are ready and willing to accept the findings of the Ethics Commissioner report dated August 27th, 2025, relating to the Premier's air travel. We are ready to vote on it here today. We expect all members of the House to be prepared to vote in accepting the findings of the ethics report. Again, we welcome the findings of this report. We thank the Ethics Commissioner very much for his good work, and we will continue on this side of the House to serve Manitobans and only Manitobans. Our Premier and our entire team were elected on behalf of Manitobans on an agenda to fix health care, to return.
Members' time has expired. The honourable member for Riding Mountain.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today with a deep sense of duty, not just to my constituents, not just to this chamber, but to the people of Manitoba, who expect and deserve the highest standard of ethics and accountability from their elected representatives. This debate is not about partisan politics. It's about integrity in public office. It is about the principle that those who hold the public trust must act and be seen to act in the best interests of Manitobans, not in the interests of themselves or their party. We are here today to discuss the findings of the Conflict of Interest Commissioner regarding the Premier's use of chartered aircraft to attend the Grey Cup in 2023 and 2024. The Commissioner has determined that the Premier did not technically breach the Conflict of Interest Act, as he ultimately paid fair market value for those flights. We accept the Commissioner's findings. We respect the independence of his office, and we thank him for his work in upholding transparency and accountability in our province. But, Honourable Speaker, while the Premier may have cleared the lowest possible legal bar, he has fallen far short of the ethical one. Let us recall the facts. The Premier of Manitoba accepted flights on planes chartered by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to attend the Grey Cup. Not once, but twice. He did not disclose these trips within the 30 days required by law. He did not proactively seek approval from the Commissioner. He disclosed only after the media reported it, and only after seeking an extension. That is not transparency, that is damage control. If this Premier truly believed in accountability, he would have disclosed those flights the moment they were offered, or better yet, paid his own way like the Mayor of Winnipeg did. Instead, we see a pattern of concealment, followed by apology, followed by justification, a familiar cycle under this NDP government. And while the Commissioner found no technical breach because the Premier later paid fair market value, the ethical question remains: why did he wait until the public found out? Why did he not follow the same rules that every other member of this House is expected to uphold? Honourable Speaker, ethical leadership is not about doing the right thing once you're caught. It's about doing the right thing before anyone has to ask. Sadly, this incident is not isolated. It is part of a disturbing pattern of ethical lapses within the NDP government, a culture of entitlement and disregard for accountability that starts at the top. Just last month, the Premier flagrantly broke the Elections Financing Act by promising new highway infrastructure a mere 4 days before the Spruce Woods by-election.
Order, please. I once again would remind members to keep their comments relevant to the ethics motion we're discussing here today. The honourable member for Riding Mountain.
The PC party has filed a formal complaint, and yet this is the same Premier who campaigned on transparency and integrity, the same Premier who promised to post all his expenses online, a promise he quietly abandoned after his Grey Cup flights came to light. Honourable Speaker, this is not the first time the Premier's judgment has been called into question regarding the use of public resources. We all remember his trip to British Columbia, a trip billed as a meeting on maternal health that conveniently aligned with the re-election campaign of his NDP counterpart, Premier David Eby. Manitobans paid for that trip, but what they received was political campaigning masquerading as government business. When questioned, the Premier deflected by claiming it was about women's health, exploiting an important and sensitive issue to shield himself from scrutiny. That, Honourable Speaker, is not leadership, that is misrepresentation.
Order, please. Again, I would remind the member that his comments need to be very relevant to the ethics motion we're talking about here today. I've allowed some latitude for members to try and draw a comparison, but the member is getting pretty far afield now, so if he'd keep his comments relevant to the ethics motion before us here today. The Honourable Member for Riding Mountain.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker. My comments deal with ethics and integrity. I'm going to keep going here, and you can caution me again if I get too far out of line. The Premier's own behaviour sets the tone for his cabinet, and the tone is troubling. Let us looking at the ongoing conduct of the member for St. John's, the Minister of Families.
Order, please. The honourable member has been cautioned twice now about keeping his comments relevant. Talking about other members that have no bearing whatsoever on this motion are not relevant. So I hope the honourable member will keep his comments relevant to the ethics motion we're talking about here today. The honourable member for Riding Mountain.
Well, thank you for your guidance again, Honourable Speaker. I guess, Honourable Speaker, I'd just like to say if a progressive Conservative MLA had done the same, this NDP government would be calling for their resignation before the ink was dry. But under the NDP, the rules only apply to others. Honourable Speaker, what we are seeing is not a series of isolated missteps. It's a pattern, a culture of ethical decay that begins in the Premier's office. The Premier has failed to uphold the moral authority of his office. He excuses misconduct. He bends the rules when it suits him. He preaches accountability but practices avoidance.
Yep.
And now when confronted, he deflects, invoking his personal past, rewriting his own history, and profiting from it in books and interviews. This Premier has a public persona around redemption and responsibility, but redemption without accountability is just spin. Manitobans want a government that leads with humility and honesty, not one that hides behind excuses and press releases. Honourable Speaker, ethics are not an abstract concern. They affect real people. When people mock vulnerable communities, it damages trust. When rules are broken to win elections, it damages democracy. When taxpayers' dollars are used for partisan purposes, it damages faith in government. These are not victimless acts. They erode the very foundation of public service. That is why this Assembly must speak clearly and with unity. We on this side of the House accept the Ethics Commissioner's report. We respect his conclusions, but we also insist that this House and this Premier be held to a higher standard than the bare minimum. The NDP government delayed this debate for months. They refused to bring the report forward. They hoped Manitobans would forget. We did not forget. Manitobans did not forget. And accountability delayed is accountability denied. Honourable Speaker, what does it say about this Premier's leadership when his ministers breach ethical standards, insult citizens, and misuse public resources, and yet he refuses to act? What does it say when he holds his own caucus to double standards, removing an MLA for an alleged infraction while excusing...
Order, please. This should be the absolute last time that I have to caution the member to keep his comments relevant to the bill or to the motion before us. He's gone way far afield now, so please keep your comments relevant to the ethics motion we're here to discuss today. The Honourable Member for Riding Mountain.
Well, thank you again, Honourable Speaker, for your guidance. I appreciate it. The Premier's moral compass spins with political convenience. Manitobans deserve better. They deserve a government that leads with integrity, not indulgence, with responsibility, not rationalization. Honourable Speaker, this is not about political point scoring. This is about restoring the dignity of this legislature. Every member of this Assembly is entrusted with the sacred duty of serving Manitobans. That duty demands honesty, transparency, and humility.
Order.
The Premier may have cleared himself legally, but he has failed the ethical test of leadership. It is time for him to recognize that ethics are not optional, integrity is not conditional, and accountability is not a slogan, it is a standard. The Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba will continue to hold this government to that standard. We will continue to fight for transparency, for fairness, and for respect for the institutions that make democracy possible. Because when ethics fail, trust fails with them. And when trust fails, the very legitimacy of government is at stake. Honourable Speaker, Manitobans deserve a premier who leads by example, not by excuse. They deserve a government that practices accountability every day, not just when the media asks questions. They deserve leadership that reflects the best of this province, not the worst of political culture. Until that day, we on this side of the House will not relent. We will continue to shine a light on misconduct, demand transparency, and speak up for the Manitobans who expect their leaders to serve, not serve themselves. Honourable Speaker, integrity is not a partisan issue, it is a Manitoba value, and we will defend it. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Good job. Good job.
Seeing no more members wishing to speak, is the House ready for the question? So the question before the House is that the Legislative Assembly accept the findings regarding the Honourable Member for Fort Rouge in the conclusion of the report of the Ethics Commissioner dated August 27, 2025. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Agreed, and so ordered. The motion is accordingly carried, passed. So now we'll move on to the last ethics motion before the House today, and it relates to the Minister of Innovation and New Technology. On page 9 of the July 16, 2025 report, the Ethics Commissioner wrote, "For the reasons given above, I conclude that the Minister of Innovation and New Technology has not breached the Conflict of Interest Members and Ministers Act as alleged by the member for La Vérendrye." The motion before the House then is that the Legislative Assembly accept the findings regarding the Honourable Member for River Heights in the conclusion of the report of the Ethics Commissioner dated July 16, 2025. The floor is open for debate, and I would caution all members to keep their comments relevant to the motion we're here to debate. The Honourable Minister of Innovation and New Technology.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'll keep them not only relevant, but mercifully brief. It's my pleasure to rise today in response to this motion and to put a few words on the record on this important matter, a matter of public trust that I take very seriously, and perhaps people will forgive me a bit personally. I'll keep my remarks brief, as ultimately it's the words of the Ethics Commissioner that Manitobans want to hear most, not the ones that precede today and not the ones which will follow. As I go door to door in my constituency of River Heights, it's reinforced for me every day the importance of the value, the strength of institutions like this that guide our work. I want to begin by thanking the Commissioner for his thorough work on this matter. The work that he conducts is critically important, not only to enforcing the letter of the law, but in building and maintaining trust between elected officials and all Manitobans, the very people who sent us here to serve the public will. I think we can agree that he does that work from a learned background that was built on a lengthy career in public service. On this side of the chamber, we fully support the Ethics Commissioner and greatly value his work. In closing, Honourable Speaker, I'm pleased to accept the findings of this report, to reaffirm my support for the Commissioner, and to put this matter behind me. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to speak on the Ethics Commissioner's findings that the Minister of Innovation and New Technology, the member for River Heights, did not breach ethics rules, that he was not guilty of insider trading, at least according to the Commissioner's finding, based on the information provided by the government and that member. We accept the findings of the Ethics Commissioner's report. We may not like it, we may not fully agree with his finding, but we do accept it. We recognize that as with criminal trial, such decisions can only be made based on the available evidence at hand. We also accept that based on his best discernment, the Commissioner found no wrongdoing on the part of the Minister. However, discernment is the very thing that is at the heart of this matter. The obvious lack of discernment showed by the Minister and his team. Because even if they weren't guilty of wrongdoing, they certainly appeared to be. They did everything like a guilty person or organization would do. The timing of the Minister's actions, for one. It certainly led me to believe this Minister thought he was doing something wrong. Let's be clear. The Minister was privy to information that only he had in regards to TELUS's failure leading to the death of a Manitoban when the 911 system went down. The Minister disposed of his TELUS shares on May 13th, one day before he publicly named the company responsible for the 911 outage. The outage happened in March. The story of the outage was initially reported by CTV News on April 8th, and the next day the Minister sent a letter to TELUS regarding his concerns. It was determined that TELUS was indeed responsible for the outage, but that information had yet to be officially disclosed to the public. We raised the outage in question period at the beginning of May, and the Minister did not single out or assign blame to TELUS, a company in which he personally held shares, while answering questions. The Minister sold his shares on May 13th, but here's where it gets a little hairy, because he only mentioned TELUS by name on May 14th, the day after he sold his shares. Prior to the sale, no mention. Post-sale, no problem. But here's the problem. The Minister can't have it both ways. If he used that insider information he only had, then he's guilty. But if he made his decision based on media reports, as he claims, that information was still somewhere on his desk. He should have known that inside information is information he should have had. He should have known it. And I suppose if you are faced with a choice between perceived corruption or perceived incompetence, you've got to go with the latter. When the members in this chamber asked who was responsible, and he knew prior to the 14th he was withholding that information, not only from members of this chamber, but all Manitobans. And if that was the case, then I have a really simple question. Why? Why keep it a secret? Why not just say it was TELUS? As soon as he knew, why not say it was TELUS? They messed up. It was tragic. We're working on solutions to ensure it never happens again. Simple. But that's not what he did. He covered up until he'd sold his shares. My question is why? I'll throw another question out there I've heard from my constituents. Part of the minister's defense is he sold his shares at a loss. Now, the lack of business acumen on that side aside, it's a simple question. Why would he do that? Why would you voluntarily sell shares if you were going to take a loss? If you've done nothing wrong and you have the approval of the Ethics Commissioner to hold those shares, why would you have sold those shares at that time at a loss? Why sell them then? Unless, of course, someone told you you had to do that. Someone like the Premier and his staff trying to avoid yet another political and PR boondoggle by one of these ministers. Back in May, we raised this issue. The minister was due to speak to the press, and he kept them waiting 46 minutes. That's a long time, even for a minister. What was he doing? I'd certainly like to know what was going on in the Premier's office during those 46 minutes. What orders were given? What tale was spun? We all know that politics is about perception. Whatever happens between the minister, his broker, and his boss, there is at very least the appearance, the perception that wrong was done based on the actions he chose to take. Small wonder when the opposition and a great many Manitobans found his conduct questionable at best. This lack of discernment by the minister and those from whom he got his marching orders shows the incompetence of this government. It just defies logic because they can't have it both ways. Corruption or incompetence. It's one or the other, and Manitobans deserve better. So again, to sum up, on this side of the chamber, we accept the findings of the Ethics Commissioner. We respect the Commissioner and the important work he does. However, we also believe that there is still a great deal of unanswered questions, and that if the minister is indeed innocent, it's only by the skin of his teeth. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
No further speakers. Is the House ready for the question? So the question before the House is that the Legislative Assembly accept the findings regarding the Honourable Member for River Heights in the conclusion of the report of the Ethics Commissioner dated July 16, 2025. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Agreed and so ordered. The motion is accordingly passed. The Honourable Member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to ask for a recorded vote.
A recorded vote has been requested. Call in the members. The question before the House is that the Legislative Assembly accept the findings regarding the honourable member for River Heights in the conclusion of the report of the Ethics Commissioner dated July 16, 2025. All those in the House in favour of the motion, please rise.
Okay.
Honourable Minister Schmidt.
Honourable Minister Schmidt.
Honourable Mr. Wiebe.
Honourable Mr. Wiebe.
Honourable Minister Asagwara.
Honourable Minister Asagwara.
Honourable Minister Sala.
Honourable Minister Sala.
Honourable Mr. Costician.
Honourable Mr. Costician.
Mrs. Cook.
Mrs. Cook.
Mr. Narth.
Mr. Narth.
Ms. Hebert. Ms. Byram.
Ms. Byram.
Honourable Mr. Bushy.
Honourable Mr. Bushy.
Honourable Mr. Samard.
Honourable Mr. Samard.
Honourable Minister Marcelino.
Honourable Minister Marcelino.
Honourable Minister Kennedy.
Honourable Minister Kennedy.
Honourable Mr. Moses.
Honourable Mr. Moses.
Honourable Minister Cable.
Honourable Minister Cable.
Honourable Minister Sandhu.
Honourable Minister Sandhu.
Honourable Minister Moyes.
Honourable Minister Moyes.
Honourable Minister Morose.
Honourable Minister Morose.
Mrs. Hebert.
Mrs. Hebert.
Mr. Balkin.
Mr. Balkin.
Mr. Ginter.
Mr. Ginter.
Mr. King.
Mr. King.
Mr. Iwasko.
Mr. Iwasko.
MLA Malloway.
MLA Malloway.
MLA Corbett.
MLA Corbett.
Mr. Blaschko.
Mr. Blaschko.
MLA Chen.
MLA Chen.
MLA Pankratz.
MLA Pankratz.
MLA Devgan.
MLA Devgan.
MLA Compton.
MLA Compton.
Mr. Oxenham.
Mr. Oxenham.
MLA Loisel.
MLA Loisel.
MLA Dela Cruz.
MLA Dela Cruz.
MLA Redhead.
MLA Redhead.
Mr. Wharton.
Mr. Wharton.
Mr. Wochuk.
Mr. Wochuk.
Mr. Nesbitt.
Mr. Nesbitt.
Mrs. Robbins.
Mrs. Robbins.
MLA Lagacé.
MLA Lagacé.
MLA Lamoureux.
MLA Lamoureux.
MLA Cross.
MLA Cross.
All those in the chamber opposed to the motion, please rise. We will now conduct the alphabetical roll call of members participating virtually, and as a reminder to all virtual members, please respond clearly with either I vote yes or I vote no, only when your name is called. I would also remind members to unmute their mics only when they are recognized and then immediately mute it again once they have declared their vote. The page will now conduct the vote.
Mr. Brar.
I vote yes.
Mr. Brar votes yes.
Honourable Minister Fontaine.
I vote yes.
Honourable Minister Fontaine votes yes.
Ms. Laughlin.
I vote yes.
Ms. Laughlin votes yes.
Honourable Minister Naylor.
I vote yes.
Honourable Mr. Naylor votes yes.
Honourable Ms. Smith.
I vote yes.
Honourable Ms. Smith votes yes. Hold on, Chris. Ayes 45, nays 0.
I declare the motion passed. In the hour now being past 5 o'clock, this House is adjourned and stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.